What's up, everybody? Chester ARP Church Devotional Podcast. I came in hot there. Came in hot this morning. Coming in hot. See, bringing in the heat this morning. Coming in hot. So I apologize for that. But we are excited to be here. Esther chapter 9, beginning in verse 1. The fateful day has arrived. The 12th month has arrived. So Haman devised this plot in the first month of the year. He dies in the third month of the year. Mordecai becomes prime minister in the third month of the year. They send out a decree in the third month of the year and gets out across the land in the intervening months that Jews can defend themselves. Now here we are in the 12th month of the year. 13th day is the big day. That's the day, according to the original decree by Haman, that the Jews could be destroyed, plundered, and killed. And so now we pick it up in verse 1 of chapter 9. The big day has arrived. Now in the 12th month, which is the same month, or the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's command and edict were about to be carried out, on the very day when the enemies of the Jews hoped to gain the mastery over them, the reverse occurred. The Jews gained mastery over those who hated them. And the Jews gathered in their cities throughout all the provinces of King Ahasuerus to lay hands on those who sought their harm. And no one could stand against them, for the fear of them had fallen on all the peoples. All the officials of the provinces, the satraps, and the governors, and the royal agents also helped the Jews, for the fear of Mordecai had fallen on them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and fame had spread throughout all the provinces. For the man Mordecai grew more and more powerful. The Jews struck all their enemies with the sword, killing and destroying them, and did as they pleased to those who hated them. In Susa, the citadel itself, the Jews killed and destroyed 500 men, and also killed Parshadatha, and Dalphon, and Aspatha, and Poratha, and Adalia, and Aridatha, and Parmasta, and Arishai, and Aridai, and Vijatha, the 10 sons of Haman, and the sons of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews, but they laid no hand on the plunder. Now, I'm just going to pause right here for a second, say I apologize for working my way through those names. That was quite a challenge. But I think it's important to name those names. Usually I would just say some guys who got killed. But it's important to name those names because those names were the sons of Haman. They were able to kill the sons of Haman. Haman's sons, presumably, still held a grudge, and they were coming after the Jews. In Susa, they killed 500 men. That's not that many, actually. When you think about the number of people who came out against the Jews or potentially could come out against the Jews, that's not that many. Most people, I get the impression, most people just said, we don't want anything to do with the Jews. It says the fear of the Jews fell upon all men at the end of chapter 8. We also find that again in chapter 9, the passage we read. And that's because Mordecai was in a position of leadership, and he was a prominent Jew, and everyone knew he was a Jew. And so he's a Jew in the leadership party. Most people are going to say, you know what, we're going to be with them. We're going to take our side. We're going to hang our hats on the side of the leadership party. We're not going to go out here and try to create a big problem. We're going to go out here and be with the leadership, be with the status quo, be with those in the leadership, and let it be. Live a peaceful life. That's what we want to live. Most of us want to live a peaceful and quiet life, don't we? We want to be left alone. And so that's what those people did, and most of the people throughout the kingdom wanted to do. In particular, those in the area close by the Susa, by the citadel, where the government was headquartered. They didn't want to cause a bunch of trouble, and so only about 500 people come out, or maybe a little bit more, but 500 men die, and included in that were the 10 sons of Haman. They were still carrying it on, but the Jews plundered, and everybody came in. The Jews, were able to defend themselves. They gained mastery over their enemies, and as a result of that, they were victorious. But it's interesting to say here, they didn't lay hand on the plunder. Now, the original edict said everybody could plunder the Jews. You could kill them and take whatever they had. But the Jews were content to say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to trust our God who has provided this opportunity for us. We're going to defend ourselves. We're not looking for a fight, but if you bring a fight to me, I'm going to bring it, right? That's kind of the mindset. I'm not going to go out here looking for a fight, but if you bring it, let's go. I'm not going to back down from it. And so the Jews said, all right, we're not going to back down from it. And obviously we know the fight's coming and you're going to try to kill us, so we're going to handle our business. And then we're going to leave everything where it is and let your families have it. We don't want the stuff. We just want our lives. We just want to be left alone. We want to live peaceful lives. We want to trust God. We want to worship God. We want to live in His grace and providence. Remember, we talked about this at the beginning of the book of Esther, if you were with us, but if not, it's a helpful reminder. The book of Esther is the story of survival. It's the story of the Jews who remained in the different parts of the empire who did not return to Jerusalem in the return of the exiles. Many Jews stayed where they were. A small number of them, for the most part, returned to Jerusalem. Ezra and Nehemiah, the story of those who returned. And certainly in Jerusalem, they had to deal with these issues. And they had enemies. But most of the Jews stayed wherever they were in the provinces of King Ahasuerus in the Medo-Persian Empire, that they were scattered after the Babylon captivity. And so they just wanted to live peaceful lives. They wanted to live quiet lives. They wanted to do their jobs. They wanted to hold their businesses. They wanted to grow their produce. They wanted to build their gardens. Remember Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11? My plans for you is to seek the prosperity of the city, to grow vineyards and to marry people and to have life and take the message out to the world around them. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to be left alone. And God gave them the opportunity to defend themselves. They were ready to defend themselves. He gave them victory because God is God, and he does that for his people. And his providential hand was at work. But it's interesting, before they have to go out and defend themselves, he lessens the charge, as it were, against the Jews by having Haman killed and Mordecai elevated, and everybody understanding who Mordecai is. Because most people are going to follow the leadership. Whatever the leadership's value is what most people are going to value. We see it in our own country. Right now, right, we are in a position where there's a conservative in the White House and a conservative in leadership in Congress. And as a result of that, we tend to see most people living more and embracing more of those conservative values when it comes to business, etc. Now, we'll go through a phase where we've had liberals in the White House and liberals in Congress, and people start to move in that direction because the leadership, most people just want to be a part of that leadership. They don't want to go against the grain. They don't want to be left alone. They don't want to go against the grain. They'll embrace whatever position is, as long as it's not too compromising. They'll embrace whatever position is in leadership, and that's what we see happening here, right? Oh, well, we're not going to turn our backs on the prime minister and the queen. And the king has said they can defend themselves, so we're good. Y'all enjoy your life over there. You do your thing over there as Jews. You go ahead and do it. We'll be fine here. We'll get along great, right? And so he reduced the amount of people. If Haman's still in leadership, people might be angry and coming after him. So God has put Mordecai in a position. It has changed the vibe, to use a modern language, a modern word, changed the vibe. They had a vibe shift among the peoples of the empire. And the Jews were able to defend themselves, so there were less people coming at them. The Jews were able to defend themselves. The Jews gained mastery because the Lord gave them victory, and they were successful, and God provided care for them in his grace. God does the same for us today. We give him praise, and we thank him for it. This is a wonderful story of how God protects those who are faithful unto him. You guys take care. God bless you. I'll catch you next time.